Okay, so Monique, Dan, thanks very much for agreeing to take part in this little experiment into the mind. I'd like to have a look at these bookmarks. Monique, if you'd like to have a look through them, have a look at the amazing artwork that's on them. Take off maybe 12, and if you could give Dan 12 as well. And then, Dan, if you could have a look through.
Yeah, sure.
Feel free to look through as much as you want. Are you familiar with H.P. Lovecraft at all? Or?
Only what Dan's told me.
Okay. How about you, Dan?
Oh, yeah, very familiar.
Perfect. Well, that makes perfect sense. Now, they're actually bookmarks that commemorate the writings of H.P. Lovecraft. Now, when he died in 1937, shortly after he died, a mysterious bookshop was opened in his hometown of Providence, Rhode Island. Now, this bookshop itself can't be found on any map. In fact, you can't Google it, and that's because it exists purely in our imagination. So what I want to do, if you'd just like to put the bookmarks down for a second, I'll tell you what, let's do something else. Hold them in your left hand, and just basically put your right hand over the top. Okay, now it's up to you if you want to close your eyes, you can if you want, you don't have to. But I just want you to imagine that you're in this very mysterious looking bookshop, and you're glad to be there because it's lashing down with rain outside. Okay, imagine you can see a nice log fire, you can feel the heat from it, you can certainly see a bookshelf, and on this bookshelf it's filled with books with all these amazing titles. Okay, now just over to your left you can hear the ticking of a grandfather clock, and the grandfather clock suddenly starts to chime on the hour, so it's just approaching an exact hour. What I'd like you both to do is have a look at that hour and remember it. Without saying a word, I'd like you to just come back to us when you're good and ready, open your eyes, but thinking all the time of the hour that you saw on the grandfather clock. Okay? What I'd like you to do now is if you could take your bookmarks so that I can't see them, so say under the table or just the other side, just give them a general little mix, and then remove the same number of bookmarks as the hour you're thinking of. So for instance, if you're thinking of, say, 2, you would take off 2 bookmarks.
Okay.
And Monique, if you're thinking of, say, 8, you would take off 8 bookmarks. Okay? Put the rest just in the corner there, and we don't need those anymore. And the bookmarks that you've kept, keep them out of sight. Okay? And let me know when you've done that, please.
Okay, I'm done.
Wonderful. Now what we need to do now is mix those bookmarks together. So if you can just reach round to the other side of the table. Monique, if you give yours to Dan.
Okay.
Dan, if you give them a nice mix.
Yeah.
Okay, keep thinking of the time as well. Don't forget the time that you're thinking of.
Okay.
Done?
Yeah.
And then I'd like you to hand the bookmarks to me.
Okay.
You're happy that they're all mixed?
Yeah, fine.
Okay,
No problem.
Dan, we'll start with you.
Okay.
What I'm going to do is we need to connect a title to the hour that you're both thinking of. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you the bookmarks one at a time.
Yeah.
Just remember the title that lies at the hour that you're thinking.
Okay.
So again, if you're thinking of 2 o'clock, you'd remember the second title that you see.
Okay.
And then we'll do the same with you, okay? So here we go. And I'll do it nice and slowly so that you can certainly see all the titles. So that would be 1 o'clock.
Yeah.
2 o'clock.
Yeah.
3 o'clock. 4 o'clock.
Okay.
5 o'clock. 'And final one.
Okay.
So you're now thinking of the title.
I am, yeah.
Okay. It's important that you remember that
Yeah,
title.
I got
Okay.
it.
So keep thinking.
Okay.
Is this a book that you've read?
It is, yeah.
It is fantastic.
Yeah.
So think of the story, think of what the whole thing means to you, and keep that in mind.
Okay.
Okay. Monique, same thing with you. I'm going to show you all the bookmarks. Just remember the bookmark that lies at the hour you're thinking of. Okay. You don't need to think of anything else. So this is 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock. And the final one. So you're thinking of the title. Okay. Is this a book that you've read as well?
Unfortunately not.
Okay. Well, that's fine. Just basically just think of the title. Think of whatever the title conjures up in your mind, and try and recreate that image in your mind. Keep it in your mind. Okay. Because this is where the fun really starts. What we're going to do now is we're actually going to go back to the room that we were in before. Okay. So keep in mind your titles. And what I'd like you to do, if you would, is if you want to hold hands, that's fine, and maybe just hold one hand across. And I want you to imagine you've now gone back to that bookshop, and once again, you're glad to get out of the rain because it's absolutely lashing down outside. Okay, so imagine you can still hear the rain. You can hear the monotonous ticking of the grandfather clock. You can feel the warmth from the fire. You can hear it burning. You can see all the books on the shelves. But there's something different. It's not actually the bookshop that you've returned to. It's actually the study of H.P. himself. Now, you can actually see him in the distance. He's got his back to you, but he's sitting in his study, and he's actually writing something that seems to be his latest novel. And together, I want you to walk towards him, peering over his shoulder. He's just finished writing, and to your amazement, he's just written the title of the book that you're thinking of. So nice and clearly, I want you to see that written as clearly as anything. Hear the scratch of the pen against the paper. Okay, and once you've done that, just nod, just gently. Wonderful. Now, something very strange is going to happen because H.P. is now turning around and he looks at you and he smiles. So he's very happy that you've taken the time to come and visit him. And he wishes you well on your journey back. And all he asks is that you keep in mind the title of the book that you've just seen him write. So whenever you're ready, just come back to us. Keep holding hands. What I'd like you to do is just look into each other's eyes and picture that vision you saw when he was writing the title. And on the count of 3, I just want you to gently say the title that you saw him writing. Here we go. 1, 2, 3.
The Moon Bog.
Dan, it's been a pleasure.
Brilliant.
Monique,
Thank you very much.
thank you ever so much for taking part.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Wow. He never does it.
It works.